stalkers harassing me. That's why I left the server the last time. Okay?
Yeah. Well, okay. Just please understand. I'm not doing it to defend him or even defend. In most cases, I'm defending you.
Good. Tell him to go to another room.
You can
Okay, well,
stay
yeah.
if he's just quiet. There's no harm done there.
This should only take 10 seconds to resolve instead of 10 or 15 minutes.
I mean, it's
okay?
already resolved.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he's
so-
just staying quiet.
Well, in
There you
the
go.
name
You
of
just left
we're
the
gonna
room.
move. We're
There you
gonna
go.
move on. Okay.
yeah.
Now, if anyone else wants to talk to me, I came to this room. I'm the only person that came in here, expecting people coming in trying to speak to me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Usually the solution for a lot
Darth.
of things is usually more simple than people make it out to be.
So I've got a new and improved version of a defense for the infinite regress. I call it a codependent causality. Essentially, what it says.
Yeah, go ahead.
Essentially, what it says is that you don't have to have an infinite chain of regress towards the past, but you can just have if there's event A and event B, you can say that there's some sort of retrocausality, right? So what ends up happening is A is dependent on B and B is dependent on A. And so they're both necessary at the same time.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a very simple question, okay? If you dodge and evade the question with just rhetoric, filibustering, and bullshit, I will not talk with you because you have a prior history of this. I'm going to ask you a very simple and clear question. What is it that is singularly fundamental that institutes and secures what each discrete state of affairs is, can be, and cannot be?
The laws of physics.
No, that is a fail. So first of all, you're referring to a plurality of things. Do you recall in the question I said, what is it that is singularly fundamental? Physics, okay, if the laws of physics are, when I say what is, in terms of my question, when I said what is it singularly that institutes and secures each instance of what is, can be, and cannot be, okay, I'm trying to think and formulate it so that you can understand this. When you say the laws of physics, that doesn't address it, because I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe in the second law of thermodynamics?
Yes.
Okay. At a certain point, will the universe reach a heat death?
I don't know definitively, but that's what the science says.
Okay, good. So the point is certain laws are dependent upon other laws. Will there be acoustics if there's a heat death of the universe? Will there be laws of acoustics?
Like sound?
Yeah, will there be laws of acoustics?
Probably, yeah.
How do you know that?
Because the presumption is that there's no matter.
You know what? You're totally clueless. In the heat death of the universe, you have maximum entropy. Are we clear about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So sound requires various aspects of order. If there's a maximum degree of entropy, then you don't have order. If you don't have order, you can't have acoustics.
Yeah, okay? but I agreed with you.
Okay, fine. So here's the problem. I asked you, what is it singularly? You appeal to a plurality of things. Therefore, there's nothing singularly in control of everything that dictates every instance of what is, can be, or cannot be. Number two, okay, if you could even defend that, right, you would still have to tell me how you know that.
Mm-hmm.
How could you possibly know what is ultimate? How could you know that?
I know what is ultimate through reasoning.
No, sir. Listen to me. Why do you lie to me thinking I'm a stupid fifth grader? Okay? You are bullshitting. You are lying to me. I know you're lying. You know that I know that you're lying. Everyone else knows that you're lying. Okay? Are you omniscient?
I don't have to be omniscient to know that.
Okay. How do you know by pure reason alone what it is that is fundamental, singularly ultimate, dictating each instance of what is, can be, and cannot be? How do you know that by pure reason? Did your mind institute that? Did your mind
I'm not saying.
impose that? Well, obviously no, because your mind isn't the law of physics.
Are you going to let him answer?
So how do you know? Shut the fuck up, Malachi.
Fuck, Darth. Shut the fuck up yourself.
All right, I'll turn you down. You can shut the fuck up.
He's a little bit out
Okay.
of nowhere.
I have a zero tolerance for cockroach.
Is this Christian apologetics?
Okay, yeah.
Bruh.
Now, how can you know? First of all, in order for you to claim that there's reason, right? First, there would have to be that which is ultimate. Okay, but how do you know through a reason what is ultimate? How do you know that?
Very simple. I know that because the laws of physics necessitate that.
No.
But I know you.
No, listen. This is so ninth grade-ish. Okay, what you're simply doing is you're repeating the same claim over again. You are a dog chasing its tail. Okay, are you truly sincere that you don't realize what an awful answer that is?
Is it an invalid argument?
Okay, listen to me carefully. That's not an answer to my question. You see, it's the same old tavern. You haven't changed your stripes or your spots that you did a couple years ago. It's the same old bullshit, okay? Now, how do you know that there are laws, okay? Are these laws real?
Yes.
Okay.
I know there are laws.
Are they self-contained and eternal?
Yes.
Okay, are all laws of nature eternal?
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, there were no regularities of nature. Okay, do you believe in the Big Bang?
Yes.
Okay, now can you please explain to me why Stephen Hawking and the likes of Leonard Susskind, both brilliant physicists or thinkers, why they say that the laws of physics as we know them break down at the singularity?
I'm no expert on physics.
Okay,
but,
you're fucked. You're fucked right now.
Oh my.
No.
Okay.
Language.
Do the laws of physics. Okay, was Stephen Hawking wrong when he said the laws that we are acquainted with break down at the Big Bang? Or how about Leonard Susskind, okay, a world-renowned physicist? You know what he said? He says, for all we know, physics could operate radically different from anything that we're acquainted with. This is a world-renowned physicist. Was he wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Okay, and do you know that because you're omniscient?
No. I know that.
Okay,
because,
then how do you know? Then how do you know that so-called laws are the same at all times and all places? How do you know this?
So I know that the laws of physics are.
All right, listen to me carefully. Okay, listen to me.
So,
before you go on, hold on a second. I just want to give you one last warning, okay? Because I talked with you years ago. You're doing the same bullshit you did before. If you lie to me, but pretend to me, try to pretend in the room that you're giving an educated answer when you're just making it up on the spot, I will not talk with you again. I will put in a note never to talk to you again. I don't mind if you disagree with me, but if you lie while pretending you're giving me an educated answer, I will never talk with you again. Now, do you want that to happen?
No, I don't want that to happen.
Okay, then don't lie to me pretending to me that you're giving me an educated answer when I can demonstrate easily that you're making it up out of thin air. Okay? Now, how do you know that physics are absolute, invariant, and universal? How did you acquire that?
Because a possible world where there's physics is
okay. That's
invariant?
A bullshit response. Stop right there. That was total. You know what? You want to know something? Nothing burns my ass more than when somebody just bullshits me, thinking that I'm retarded. Okay, that was a total bullshit answer. You can't know anything that's universal because you don't have you don't have contact with all universal states, do you?
Oh, that's not true. We can know lots of things through universal.
Oh, okay, listen.
For instance,
give me one thing.
Darth,
give me
you're
one
gonna have to
thing.
All right, you're muted. All right, just respond so that he can.
Why are we letting this guy respond?
He's going to respond now.
Why?
So it's very simple. we know that causality is universal. So
How do you know that? How do you know that? How do you know that?
Over talking. Jesus.
So we know that causality is universal.
No, stop with we.
Simply
Stop
because
with we. No, stop with we. We're not talking to we. I'm talking to you. How do you know that the causal principle is universal? Okay. Are you omniscient?
No.
Okay. How do you know that it's universal?
Because a possible world where...
No. Listen carefully. Do you know that it is universal by abduction, induction, or deduction?
Deduction.
Okay. Deduction would require that you have access to all events. Now, here's the interesting thing. Do you know who David Hume was?
Yeah.
Okay. David Hume said you cannot refer to sense experience to justify the actuality of causality because you would have to presuppose it. So you cannot justify, you infer that causality exists because there is a conjunction chronologically between events, that one event precedes another. But you are inferring, okay? So how do you know that causality is real? Is causality or is causality it just simply exists eternally?
No, it's imposed on us.
Okay. Okay, listen. You're all over the map here. Okay? What makes the causal principle real and universal?
The impossibility of the contrary. The contrary. Hold on.
Listen to me. Listen to me. That is not an ontological answer. I said, what makes it real? I ask you, what is a defeater to invoking causality? So do you understand the difference?
Not quite. Could you repeat that?
Now, listen to me. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. If you lie to me, I'm never going to talk with you again. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, did somebody just DM you with the impossibility of the contrary?
No, I have DMs turned off.
Okay.
No one can. No.
I don't believe you.
No, I literally do have DMs turned off.
Okay,
no,
so do you understand? Okay, listen. Do you understand that saying to the impossibility of the contrary, okay, does not establish what makes it real?
Well, I mean, it would devolve into absurdity otherwise.
It does. Listen to me. Why would it be absurd? Okay, if some events simply pop into existence, why would that be absurd?
Because you can't do deduction if causality.
So what? So
real.
what? So what?
Well, I mean, that's just explosion.
You're
right?
presupposing. Listen to me. You're saying it's absurd because you presuppose that you're in a world where all events have a cause. That's the only reason why you're saying it's absurd. So that's begging the question. So I will ask you again. Okay. I will ask you again. Okay. What is it that makes the causal principle real and universal?
I already answered that, so I think this is...
Yeah, that answer that answer you gave me was an attempt to do against the defeater. I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you what makes it real. Is there something that
like
makes
ontologically?
It real? I want to know what makes the causal principle real, actual, and universal. Why and how is it real?
Well, if we accept the negation, right? So if we accept...
No, sir, you're doing it again. Stop with the diversionary response, okay? With the impossibility of the contrary, okay? I'm asking you what makes it real, okay? I didn't ask you why you accept it. If you said, well, I accept it due to the impossibility of the contrary, okay? I'm not asking you why you accept it. I said, what makes it real?
It makes it real because we can observe it.
No, sir. Okay, wow. You know what, Tavin? You think you're really, really smart. That is one of the dumbest answers I've heard in quite a while. That's begging the question. Does your sense observation, your senses, do they presuppose the causal principle?
Yes.
Okay, so you're begging the question.
No, so it's not something you presuppose. It's something it's impossible to do otherwise.
Tavin, My head is about to explode with your dishonesty. You haven't changed your stripes in a couple of years, okay? David Hume was an atheist philosopher. You're an atheist, right?
Yes.
Okay. David Hume argued successfully you cannot appeal to sense perception to justify causation because it presupposes it.
I think Hume was wrong. I think the reason
okay,
Hume
the
was wrong,
fact that you believe in causality, fine. I'm not disputing that you believe in that. I want to know what makes it real.
yeah. So the reason it's real is because if you presuppose, like you said, right? If you presuppose causality isn't real,
No, sir.
then
We're not talking
be
about the
able to navigate.
reason. We're not. See, again, this the third time. Okay, there's not going to be a fourth time. You're just giving me your reason why you believe in causality. Okay, I want to know what makes causality real.
Well, what kind of argument would you expect?
I
Like an
want to
ontological
know how is causality real?
Causality is real because I'm just going to give you the same answer again. So this is
Good.
not going to be
Then we're done because that answer doesn't address my question.
Is it because it's not an ontological
Your
question?
answer does not answer my question. It does not answer the question, why is causality real? Is causality instituted and secured by something external independent to itself? Or is causality real because it is a se, that it is an eternal self-contained principle? Or do you believe that causality popped into existence out of nothing?
No, I don't think it popped into existence out of
Good.
nothing.
Okay, now, is causality eternal?
Yes.
Okay, how do you know that?
Do you mean like would it break down at
How do you know that causality is eternal?
I just told you the impossibility.
No,
of
you
constraint.
didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't explain to me. How is causality? How do you know it's eternal?
Well, logic seems to govern the fact that.
No, I don't want to hear it seems to be. I don't want to hear it seems to be, maybe, possibly. How do you know that causality is real and it's eternal? How do you know either of these?
Yeah, so I know for a fact that causality is real because if we take the assumption that it's false, right?
Okay, Tavin, we're done. Okay, all you're simply doing is
it's a simple proof by
don't
contradiction.
overtalk me. No, sir. Listen to me carefully. No, sir. What all you're just simply saying is that the belief in causality is indefeasible. It doesn't tell me that it's real. Okay? Now, all you've simply done with that last answer is simply reword what you've been saying over and over and over again. Okay? Now, do you know why you're doing that? It's because you have nothing else to say. That's why you're rewording your same answer. Now, here's the problem. Okay? The fact that trying to defeat causality would be self-defeating or self-stultifying, it doesn't justify that it's real or eternal. So how is it eternal and real?
Like I said, it's just a proof by contradiction, right?
Okay, so we're done. Okay, all right, Tavin. Hey, Tavin, have a good life. Okay, you are a deceitful little scumbag. You keep on repeating the same answer. I just explained to you, okay, you're not nearly as smart as you think you are, or you're just a craven liar, and here's why. You have repeated the same answer and over again. All you're just simply saying is that objecting to causality is indefeasible. But that doesn't explain to me how you know that it's eternal and self-contained. It may be the case, right, and I could agree with you that causality is indefeasible, but it doesn't follow necessarily from that it is self-contained and eternal. Okay, so do you understand my last statement?
No.
Okay, we'll go over it again. I thought you're really smart, Tavin. Don't you put yourself across the people here on Discord that you're fairly well educated and smart?
Not really.
And I have to explain this again to. Oh, really? Stop lying. You
Didn't you
interject in
study
conversations
logic?
all the time, like you know what you're talking about, the basics of philosophy. Now, the fact that it's indefeasible, okay, it doesn't follow from it that it's a se, that it is self-contained and eternal, and it doesn't follow from that it's universal. Okay, so saying that it's indefeasible doesn't justify that it's eternal or self-contained.
Okay, so I'll give you an argument then, to show that it's
Okay, stop right
proven.
there. So is this
Sure,
something
yeah.
new you're going to tell me? That's not coherent, Mr.
Radius than our current
Okay, so what you
visible
said prior
If
was
we
garbage,
left
right? Your world. No,
people's art.
Fucking nerd.
No, I'm
Right.
trying a different
Can we
tactic.
just
okay, no.
in
Was it
anus?
garbage? Yes or no? Or what is what you said? Did it justify the actuality of causality?
Well, you repeated the same question to me, so I have to give the
Okay,
same
sir.
answer.
Now listen. Were your previous answers that you just simply reworded 5 times in a row? Was it garbage or not garbage?
No, I don't think it was garbage.
Okay, good. Now, all you just simply said is it's real because it's indefeasible. The fact that it's indefeasible, it doesn't follow from that it's self-contained. Do you understand?
Oh, I never claimed that it was self-contained.
Okay, well then, but you see, if it's not self-contained, then what makes it real?
Whoever's blowing your
Oh.
mic, can you please stop?
Listen,
The laws
listen
of physics.
No, you're not understanding because you're a dog chasing its tail. Because physics, okay, causality is just simply a subset of physics.
I don't accept that. I think
it most certainly is. Talk to any scientist; they'll laugh in your face.
Then how are you?
A physicist,
Causality is what is at the root foundation of physics. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that
Good.
physicists
Now,
think that.
yeah. So again, all you're just simply doing is you're just saying, oh well, causality is eternal, right? Do laws of physics come first and then causality? Is there causality then physics?
There's causality then physics.
That's right. Okay, so you can appeal. Okay, what happens is when we in a conceptual scheme where we have the dominoes of consecutive events where we have cause and effect. Okay, there's going to be certain cause and effect regularities along with irregularities. We label the regularities among the irregularities as laws of physics. Okay, so the laws of physics cannot justify the causal principle. Okay. Now,
yeah, that's what I just said.
Okay. Now, is the causal principle self-contained, absolute, invariant, and universal in and of itself?
Is it universal? Yes.
How do you know
I don't
that?
know what it means.
How do you know that?
Because if the laws of causality weren't universal, then the alternative would be impossible, right? So we
No. No. That's begging the question. Okay. Why couldn't there be within our scope of a world a cascading of cause and effect, but elsewhere amongst the totality of reality there was not the causal principle? How do you rule that out?
Oh, so you mean like
You said it's impossible. So in other words, you said it's impossible for there to be spontaneous occurrences. In order for there to be an event of any kind, it has to be cause. How is that impossible?
David, you argue for
Because-
good facts, dude.
Hold on. No. I already told him it was necessary, right? So
No, you said it would be impossible for there not to be causality everywhere. How do you know that?
okay. So the reason I know that is because so suppose that causality weren't and this is not a proof by contradiction, just so you know, right? This is a real argument, right? So what it does is it says, suppose that causality wasn't true, right? So there's some possible world where causality isn't true.
No, that's not.
Then what
That's
ends
not
up
the only. That's not the only scenario. You could have a scenario where there's a mixture of causality and acausality. What you're saying is causality is true at all times and all places. How do you know that?
Letting somebody finish challenge impossible.
Okay, so
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Would we mute Brando? Brando was a colossal disaster. I came to this room to talk with people who want to talk with me. He failed miserable and he started lying, just like Tavenin. So mute him if he interjects. So Tavin, how do you know that the causal principle is universal? How is it impossible for it not to be universal?
Well, if it was the case that something existed that is not contingent on another thing, then it would just be a necessary fact.
So
right?
so nothing so nothing is self-contained?
No, that's not what I'm saying. The universe is obviously self-contained.
Hold on a second. No, okay, you know, dude, you're making another mistake. You just stepped on another landmine. The universe is an abstraction that refers to your mental collectivizing of all the discrete particularities. Now, is there anything that is existing, okay, that is self-contained?
Is there anything that is existing? Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Or
universe.
is everything that exists the product of causality?
No.
Is there any state of affairs whatsoever that is not extant? Okay. Well, then we have at least one or more state of affairs that are not the product of causality. So therefore, causality is not universal.
What do you mean by universal?
Tavin, we're done. Okay, I don't know how old you
are.
No,
I'm serious.
I'm serious. No, we're done.
24.
Your responses have been a total disaster. Now let's change the subject. Okay. Now, how is it that there is no God?
There's no God because there's no God because an infinite regress is possible, right? So there's some possible world.
No, that's incoherent. Again, you're making a universal declaration. Do you know that by induction?
No, deduction.
Okay, good. Are you omniscient?
No.
Okay, so if there's an infinite regress of causal succession, right? That means that every event is of a second order, right?
I don't really understand that term.
Okay,
can you
if
explain
if something has an antecedent that causes it, then the event that is the product of the antecedent is what we call of a second order. It's not primary.
Yeah.
Okay, if everything is of a second order, then nothing's primary. In order to have in order to have a second order, you have to have something that's primary.
Yes, that's true. But you can have something be primary and
Tavin, this is what is so sickening talking with you. You are shameless when you get totally blown out of the water here. Listen carefully. If all events are second order, then nothing is primary.
No, you misheard me. So I said that there can be events that are second order and first order.
No, sir. How do you even know this?
I'm constructing a possible world where it's possible.
Okay, but you don't know. Oh, but you don't know this.
No, I don't know this for a fact.
Okay, good. Then we're done. You haven't demonstrated that there is no God.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay?
You haven't demonstrated that.
I mean, this is embarrassing for you.
Well, the reason there's no God is simply because if you make the claim that the non-existence of God is impossible, that means it's impossible in all possible worlds, then I've constructed a possible world where it's possible for God not to exist simply by the fact that infinite regress.
Listen to me. That was a disaster what you just said. I mean, that was just unbelievable mental gymnastics. Okay, here's the bottom line. Okay, you're making a universal declaration. Okay, if we affirm the God world or we affirm the not God world, they're both universal declarations. Okay, saying that God doesn't exist because you engage in mental gymnastics and you kind of theorize about possible worlds, it doesn't follow from your mental gymnastics that God does not actually exist. So you're going to need to give me another answer as to why God doesn't exist.
Well, you make the claim that it's impossible for God not to exist, right?
Okay, what I claim and believe at this juncture is not relevant to you defending your position that there is no God. God does not exist because, and don't repeat what you said before.
Give me a second. I'm getting a door knock on the door. 1 second.
Yeah, Tavin is one of the biggest bullshitters I've encountered on Discord, and he's shameless about it.
I mean, every time I
Yeah,
talk about God, he talks about like why causality isn't necessary, and then
yeah,
he's arguing for causality.
He's a shameless bullshitter. Brando, don't
All right,
bother
I'm back.
sending me. Hold on a second, Brando. Don't bother sending me messages, okay? You failed miserably. You were lying to me repeatedly when I asked you the same question over again, pretending that you were giving a relevant, germane answer to the question that I repeated 4 and 5 times, okay? And I explained the background to the question, and you were lying to me repeatedly and giving me your answer, okay? You were just saying pure gobbledygook, which amounts to a lie. So don't bother sending me messages. I will not read your messages, Brando.
Darth, I responded to a message you
now,
sent me.
don't repeat what you said before, Tavin. God does not exist because?
So God is. I don't know if this is going to be a repetition. I'm just going to word it a little bit.
No,
different.
don't repeat what you said before because that was a major fail.
I don't. What was the repetition that I made again? I don't remember.
I said when just like in our previous interaction, you repeat the same thing over and over, and then you slightly reword it, thinking you're giving me the same answer when it's been destroyed each and every time. Okay, this is what you do. This is your MO. Now, God does not exist because?
Well, I mean, in order to prevent myself from repeating myself, you have to tell me.
God does not exist because? And if you repeat yourself, I'll tell you you're repeating yourself.
Okay, all right. So God does not exist because if God has to exist, He has to exist in all possible worlds. God exists. This is the premises. So first premise is if God exists, God has to exist in all possible worlds. If God
okay, we're talking about this world right now. We're talking about this world right now. In this world that we're in right now, your position is God does not exist. So you're giving me mental gymnastics again. God does not exist because.
Can I finish the premises? So I mean, you can critique it after.
Gymnastics.
It might be, but you just listen to the argument and then you can tell me if it's wrong. So God does not exist because the argument goes, if God exists, He exists in all possible worlds. You can deduce that God exists by virtue of the causal principle. The causal principle does not prevent infinite regresses.
Okay, Tavin, stop. Tavin. This is embarrassing listening to you. Nobody is taking you seriously right now. You're just borderline rambling. Okay.
I am.
Yeah, I don't care about you cockroaches who want a white knight for him.
Okay, so let's let Tavin finish, please. Thank you. Tavin, go ahead.
Yes, please. Let's let the person who you're interrogating finish his sentence.
Tavin, go ahead.
So it's very simple argument, right? So if God exists, then He must exist in all possible worlds. You affirm that God exists in all possible worlds. The causal principle establishes that God exists. The causal principle does not establish that an infinite regress is required. Conclusion: God does not exist.
That was a disaster.
If you want me to expand on the premises.
Yeah, listen to me. That is a disaster, okay? Listen carefully. God is not just merely an entity. It constitutes a paradigm, a worldview. We call it the God world, okay? Now, the only way that you can provide a defeater is to present the not God world, okay? Can you give me a rationale that the not God world is true to act as a defeater for the God world? Okay.
Well, I'm responding to your argument, right? So,
but you see, you didn't establish. What you did was you appealed to mental gymnastics, but you weren't establishing a worldview. Okay, since God is a worldview, okay, are you conceptualizing God merely as an entity, Or does God constitute a worldview in terms of the creator-creature distinction?
It constitutes a worldview.
Good. Then the only way to defeat a worldview is by instantiating a worldview. So how is the not God world true?
Okay, so I can just instantiate your worldview, right? So I can just assume your worldview. So if I assume your worldview, right,
No,
then
not
it must
having a
follow.
reason. Listen, not having a reason.
All right, just let him finish, please.
So you can instantiate your own Dart's view. You can instantiate Dart's view. I'm pretty sure. If I'm not, you can tell me after, right? So what's going on is you instantiate the God world and not the not God world. And what you do is you say, look, if I assume God exists, then what you do is you say, how did I establish that? I established this through the causal principle. Does the causal principle necessitate an infinite regress? And you would obviously think that the answer is no, right? So you would say, okay, an infinite regress is impossible. So the causal chain has to extend all the way back into the beginning of the universe. So there must be a creator. Then what you say is, well, okay, can I construct a possible world in which the causal principle does not necessitate the causal principle does necessitate the infinite regress. What happens when you necessitate the infinite regress is suddenly the causal principle doesn't work anymore because there isn't an infinite regress to justify a beginning. And then what happens is because there's no beginning, there's no God, and because God doesn't exist in this possible world, it refutes the original idea that God exists in all possible worlds. Therefore, there is no God.
Tavin, that was an absolute disaster. That was mental gymnastics after mental gymnastics. Are you deploying reason in order to defeat the God world?
Yes.
Okay. What then is ultimate then that will instantiate that reason is real in your world? Because if you're going to use reason, you're presupposing what is singularly ultimate, that controls everything, that dictates each and every state of what is, can be, and cannot be.
That's
What
a bit off topic.
Okay, so shut the fuck up now.
Oh.
Okay, now. You know what? You're trying to employ reason out of your worldview as to why the not God world paradigm doesn't hold water. Okay. Does your worldview have at an ultimate foundational level the precondition of everything, including reason?
Yes.
Okay. What singularly is that?
It's not singular, it's plural.
Okay.
I don't see why it's why.
Because now, okay, so what you have is two or more things that are self-contained, and they exist independent of each other. Is that correct?
No, they're dependent on each other.
No, sir. No. Then they're not ultimate. Then nothing controls everything.
Okay? Why does that follow?
Why? Because without something governing anything, then what something may institute, another thing may take away. Now, how do you even know about this that there are these pluralities? Okay, how do you even know that there are pluralities that only exist because of each other?
Oh, that's very simple.
Where did you get that from?
Yeah, so it's either the case that the God world is true or the not God world.
No, you're not answering my question.
I am.
Well, you're not giving him the opportunity.
You know what? This is why.
So it's either the case that the God world exists or the not God world exists. Sorry, I forget what the question was. What was the question? Can somebody answer? Somebody repeat what his question was?
Okay. How do you? Okay. Either there is something that is ultimate, controlling everything singularly, or that there is nothing singularly controlling everything. Okay, which is it?
That's a false dichotomy.
No, it is not a false dichotomy. It is the law of excluded middle with the values plugged in for A.
It's a false dichotomy because you've ignored a
no,
third
it is
option.
not.
So essentially, it's a false dichotomy because suppose it's possible to conceive of a world where there's a plurality of things. Even if that world is wrong, you can still conceive of it.
Yeah, this is this is disastrous talking with you.
You broke him.
It's borderline mental derangement when I'm hearing from you. Okay, and here's why. Right, you keep on talking about possible worlds. Right, how do you know? Okay, let me go back to the question. Okay, is the law of excluded middle not representative of a true dichotomy?
Yeah, but the law of excluded middle can be expanded upon to.
No, sir. Listen, I don't think you understand this, okay? The law of excluded middle says something is either A or not A. Is that a true dichotomy?
That's a true dichotomy, yeah.
Okay, now, all I simply did was, when I asked you my question, I filled in a value for A. So whatever I fill in for a value of A, okay, and I formulated A or not A, it's a true dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
So I said either it is the case. Either it is the case. See, this is you think you're really smart. The only thing you're good at is moving your mouth and pretending like you're giving an educated response, which you're not. You're just spewing rhetoric. Now, I said to you, either it is the case that there's something singular controlling everything, or there is not something singularly controlling everything. And you said that's a false dichotomy. Remember?
That's not what you said earlier. You said
Sir, no, okay, no. Listen to me. We're
that is categorically not what you said. You said either it is the case that something exists singularly, that's foundational, whatever is blah blah blah, and then you said or it's nothing. That's what you said. And there were many members of the audience.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Stop fucking lying, or you're just an incompetent listener. Okay. See, this is why I disdain you. Okay, because you're so deceitful.
Bro.
I will repeat again what I said to you. I said either there's something singularly controlling everything, or not, or there is not something singularly controlling everything. Now, do you understand that that is an expression of the law of excluded middle? Okay. Now, do you not remember me saying that to you?
No, I don't remember you saying.
Okay, fuck off. We're done. I'm going to move on to somebody else. You see this? You know what? I'm going to put down in my account, your account, never to talk with you again. You see, several years ago, you engaged in the same bullshit here. Would the moderator stop the hecklers, please? You did this a couple of years ago, okay, and you're doing it again. You're just saying.
Yeah, we don't need the Darth speech. So if you want to talk with someone else, go ahead.
You know what? You fucking mute me again while I'm talking, moderator.
Red badge of courage, baby. Anyways,
Ariel's your daddy.
Legends.
So it's very basic.
Ariel,
all you have to do is
drama queen. I will give it to you. Oh my God, Ariel, I will worship the ground you walk on. What do you want?
Bro, his own man. He doesn't know how to speak.
Wait, please unmute him. This is the
right now. I just want to hear what Tavin's saying. Thank you.
Great job, Tavin.
Right. So all you have to do to really, understand the presupposition.
No, I'm going to object right now, Ariel. You had no just.
Oh,
there you go.
You really have to.
Damn it, Ariel! You need to unmute him. You should have unmuted him. We were waiting for that.
Ariel's a boss.
What a drama queen.
All you have to do is say no to any of the questions that he asks. He doesn't really demand much.